Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We will be starting our meeting momentarily. I wanted to let you know that available for those of you viewing this presentation via Microsoft Teams is the option to view the captions or subtitles. To turn on these features, select the CC button on the bottom right corner of your screen. This turns on the captioning. Then choose the language by selecting the settings wheel next to the CC button. Select Caption/Subtitles and select the desired languages. Available languages for tonight's presentation are English and Spanish. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Connecticut Department of Transportation and the towns of Coventry and Columbia, it is my pleasure to welcome you all for attending this public informational meeting for State Project number 32-150, replacement of bridge number 04446, Hop River Road over Hop River, located in the towns of Coventry and Columbia. My name is Preeti Bardwaj, and I am the project manager assigned to this job. I am joined here this evening with my design staff, along with the towns of Coventry and Columbia, since this is a border bridge, to discuss our design proposal, which has been completed to a 30% level. We hope that you will find this meeting both interesting and informative. I would now like to explain the format and agenda for tonight's meeting. I will be explaining how you will be able to interact with the project team. I will be explaining how this project is funded in the Federal Local Bridge DMS, or Design Managed by the State program. We will have some welcoming remarks by the town of Coventry. I will be introducing the project design team, and that includes the department's front office leadership, the department's design team, and our consultant liaison engineer team. This will be followed with a technical presentation of the design, which includes the design solution, which has progressed to a 30% design completion. As part of the department's public outreach program, it is at this point that we are now reaching out to you, the public, while it is still early in the design process, to receive any comments or concerns and answer any questions that you may have. We will also have a representative to explain the rights-of-way process. And lastly, we will have a live question and answer session. I will now explain how you will be able to interact with the project team. There are three means of how you will be able to communicate. The first is by email, which is dot.flbp@ct.gov. And again, I will spell that out. It is dot.flbp@ct.gov. You can also phone in, and the number is 860-944-1111. Again, that number is 860-944-1111. Or you can also communicate by chat on the MS Teams live event chat. In this format, you can ask a question by clicking on the little question mark, which shows Q&A, and this will bring up your live Q&A field. Select the Ask a Question button at the bottom right screen, and a field will pop up. And you can type your question and hit either Enter with a little arrow button to send. You can also check the box on the bottom to post your question anonymously if you prefer. There will be a slight delay, but eventually your question will appear in the featured section with all other questions that are asked tonight. The project email, phone, and chat will be screened by the project team during the Q&A session, and your questions asked by any of these methods will be posted to the MS Teams Q&A chat window. The questions will be asked out loud for the project team to answer. You can ask questions at any time during the presentation, but we will answer these questions during the live Q&A session that follows. We also have the project webpage link, where the recording of tonight's entire presentation, including the Q&A session, will be stored. The web page will also contain the same information that I have previously explained on how to provide comments and ask questions. And that project web page link is portal.ct.gov/DOT Coventry 32-150. And again, I will spell that out. It is portal.ct.gov/DOT Coventry 32-150. And lastly, please remember that the comment period to ask questions or provide comments will be through December 29th, 2020 via either email or telephone. So if you think of a question after tonight's meeting or want to expand on a question asked tonight, you will have until December 29th to do so. The MS Teams chat function is only available during tonight's live Q&A session. We would greatly appreciate it if you could fill out a brief survey that the department has through SurveyMonkey. The virtual public informational meeting platform is still a relatively new one for the department, and this survey will help the department improve these public meetings going forward. There's also a civil rights flyer available. Both the links to the survey and civil rights flyer are located on the previously mentioned project webpage. And lastly, I am required to read the following statement as part of the Title VI Civil Rights Act, and that is, no person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in the development of this project. I would now like to explain how this project is being funded. This bridge is a town-owned bridge and is being funded under the department's federal local bridge program. Traditionally in this program, the town selects a designer, and because federal funds are involved, the department provides administrative oversight because the department is considered to be stewards of those federal funds. The funding is traditionally 80% federal and 20% town for the design, rights-of-way, and construction phases of the project. However, this project is going to be funded under the department's newly launched DMS, or Design Managed by the State program. In this program, it will be the department who will be performing the design on behalf of the municipality, utilizing our consultant liaison engineers, who in this case are Close, Jensen, and Miller. Close, Jensen, and Miller has completed the 30% preliminary design, and it will be brought to final design completion by one of our pre-selected task-based designers. In addition, the design phase only will now be funded with 80% federal and 20% state funds. So the entire design phase is at zero cost to the towns of Coventry and Columbia. Although the 30% preliminary design was performed by the department, it was in full partnership and coordination with the towns of Coventry and Columbia. We held several meetings with both towns and diligently worked together to incorporate most of the town's comments and concerns. And now we are reaching out to you, the community, to also weigh in. The initiative behind the DMS program was to expedite design delivery for municipal projects. The DMS program uses a streamlined design approach where we are able to utilize full departmental resources and are able to internally perform design tasks concurrently rather than linearly. In this program, we are able to cut down the typical design time by a half and bring these projects to construction quicker, which is enabling the department's perennial goal to keep our municipal bridges in a state of good repair. The department is pleased to be able to offer this program to both the towns of Coventry and Columbia. The DMS program is spending your municipal and state tax dollars both efficiently and effectively, and at the same time fostering great working relationships with our municipal partners. And with that, I'll hand it over now to the town of Coventry, who would like to say a few words.
Hello and good evening. I'm Todd Penny, the town engineer, wetlands agent for the town of Coventry. I am serving as the project liaison for both Coventry and Columbia for this project, giving my expertise and experience with these types of federally funded transportation projects. It's my job to coordinate with ConnDOT and Close Jensen and Miller throughout the project and make sure the goals of each community have been met. ConnDOT performs safety inspections on all bridges over 20 feet in length in 2-year intervals. The inspection reports for the Hop River Bridge identified several costly maintenance repairs, including bearing pad replacements, deck drainage, approach retaining wall voids, partial repaintings, along with other necessary repairs. While these deficiencies do not result in immediate dangers to the traveling public, their repairs are expensive, and the two communities have been searching state and federal funds to assist in implementing the repairs since 2013. In December of 2018, the towns made an application for the 2019 Federal Local Bridge Program for the bridge's replacement under the qualification of the bridge's functionally obsolete rating, 1-lane bridge for a 2-lane roadway, along with the inspection report repairs. We took this approach as the required 20% municipal match for the replacement of the bridge was comparable to the local funds needed to repair the existing 1-lane structure. In the summer of 2019, Coventry and Columbia were notified of our successful approval of our application. Traditionally, at that point, the towns would have initiated the selection of a Connecticut engineering firm with a request for proposals process for the development of design, securing all permits, and finalizing the construction documents, all while being responsible for navigating through the federal local bridge program requirements, with the town having to cover the 20% of the total design costs. After approval of the application, the communities were approached by Pretty's team that our project qualified for ConnDOT's DMS program, designed, managed by state, where ConnDOT and their consultants would complete the design, permitting, and construction documents at their expense, while maintaining the community's ultimate authority in the design approval. We had several meetings with ConnDOT and their consultant to get a better understanding of how the program worked and how it may benefit the towns. Because of those meetings, the town recognized that this program would be a win-win solution for the towns, since the department's pre-selected consultants would have better knowledge of the design process, resulting in an earlier completion of design and construction, and not to mention the municipal cost savings for the design phase funds. We executed the town-state agreement for the DMS program in November of 2019. Since then, the department has been diligent with the design efforts for our project and have kept the two communities in the loop on all aspects of the projects, including providing us with various technical alternatives, outlining their pros and cons, and providing recommendations. We are now at the stage in the design where we present the preferred alternative to both communities for public comment. The DMS program has been followed diligently, and the town thanks the department for truly partnering with us on fixing our infrastructure. We truly welcome all questions and comments. Thank you for participating.
I would now like to introduce the project team. I am Preeti Bardwaj, the project manager shown in the center. To my left are the department's front office leadership, which includes Mr. Bart Sweeney, Division Chief of Bridges, and Mr. Robbie Barakat, Principal Engineer. To my right are Mr. James Barrows, Project Engineer, and Mr. Dennis McDonald from the department's Office of Rights of Way. The consultant liaison engineers who have brought this project to 30% design completion are Close Jensen and Miller. And from CJM, we have Mr. Mike Brady, Project Manager, and Mr. Dan Carnine, Senior Engineer. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are finally ready to present our technical portion of the presentation, and you will be hearing a lot of bridge lingo throughout the presentation. Therefore, I am about to give you a 2-minute crash course on some of the structural elements on a bridge and the numerical condition rating system assigned on a bridge. On the diagram shown, the deck is the riding surface of the bridge. The parapets, or sometimes we can even have an open rail system, help prevent errant vehicles from going off the bridge. The beams, or the girders, are the supporting structural elements on the bridge and are designed to support vehicular loads and the self-weight of the bridge, and also includes any environmental loads such as wind, seismic, etc. The parapets, the deck, and the beams and girders make up what is known as the superstructure of a bridge. The abutments and wing walls are the end supports on a bridge. And piers, if there are any, are the intermediate supports. The abutments and the wing walls and piers make up what is known as the substructure of a bridge. The substructure not only supports the superstructure, but also helps in transmitting loads from the superstructure down to the bridge foundations. All state bridges and town bridges over 20 feet in length are inspected every 2 years by the department's Bridge Safety and Evaluation Unit and are assigned a condition rating on the major bridge elements on a scale of 1 through 9, with 9 being excellent condition and 1 being imminent failure condition. When a major bridge element reaches a 4 or poor condition, that is when we start to initiate a project to address these structural deficiencies. Now that you are armed with basic bridge knowledge, I would now like to introduce Mr. Daniel Carnine, who will be presenting the technical portion of the presentation.
Good evening. My name is Dan Carnine from Close Jensen Miller. I will present the technical portion of tonight's presentation. Bridge number 4446 carries Hop River Road over the Hop River. The bridge is located 0.3 miles north of Route 6 on the Coventry-Columbia town line. Here's an aerial view of the site with the bridge in the center. On top to the north is a parking lot to the Hop River State Park Trail. To the west, upstream from the bridge is a dam. And to the southwest, the Hop River Dam tail race branches off the river, then continues east under Hop River Road. The existing bridge consists of steel beams and concrete deck superstructure supported by stone masonry abutments and center pier. The bridge was originally built in 1955 and rehabbed in 1989. The structure has a total length of 111 feet and a curb-to-curb width of 12 feet. There are stop signs at each end of the bridge providing alternating one-way traffic. The deck, which was replaced in 1989, is in good condition overall with minor deterioration. However, the deck width is functionally obsolete since it is too narrow for the current average daily traffic. The superstructure is in fair condition overall, with some deterioration in the beams. However, the existing steel expansion bearings are structurally deficient, show heavy signs of rust, and warrant replacement. The substructure is in fair condition, with some deterioration and voids in the stone masonry. Here you can see the typical substructure condition, with the south abutment shown in the left picture and center pier shown in the right picture. Due to the functionally obsolete deck and deteriorated bearings, a full bridge replacement is required. The bridge will consist of a steel multi-girder superstructure on integral abutments. This is an elevation view that shows the side of the proposed bridge. The span will be increased to 130 feet to allow construction of new concrete abutments behind the existing stone masonry walls. The top portion of the existing abutments and a small portion of the stone masonry walls will be removed to make room for the new superstructure. The existing stone masonry pier will remain, but a new reinforced concrete cap will be constructed on top of it. On the left of the screen, you can see the culvert that carries Hop River Road over the mill tail race stream will be replaced with a precast concrete box culvert. On top of the bridge, open metal bridge rail will be used across the structure and terminate into reinforced concrete end walls at all four corners of the bridge. The reinforced concrete end walls located at all four corners of the bridge will be covered in stone facing. Here are two pictures from recent projects to give you an example of what the end walls would look like. Here is a cross-section cut of the proposed bridge. The road will be widened from 12 feet to 24 feet to allow 2 lanes of vehicular traffic. On top, in yellow of the picture, open metal bridge rail will be installed across the entire structure. Below that, you can see the concrete deck in gray and the steel beams in orange. Here are pictures from some recent projects to give you an idea of what the proposed superstructure would look like. The top photo shows steel beams covered in a galvanized coating, and the bottom photo shows open metal bridge rail. Here's a plan view for the project. Looking down over the river, you can see the proposed bridge in orange. To the left, on the south approach, you can see the new box culvert that will carry the road over the tail race stream. Since we are providing 2 lanes across the new bridge, stop signs will not be required on the approaches. The roadway will also be realigned to soften the curve on the south approach. On the plan view, you can see the proposed roadway in yellow and the existing roadway portions in light gray. The roadway profile for Hop River Road will be slightly modified to allow a slight slope across the bridge. Some fill will also be placed on the north approach to reduce the sharp angles and bumps. There are overhead utilities over the bridge, shown here in red. They will be temporarily relocated during construction, and we do not anticipate any interruptions to power, phone, cable, or internet service throughout construction. During construction, temporary water handling sandbags will be placed around the existing substructure, and impacts to the river channel will be minimal. Sandbags will also be installed at the inlet for the tail race, and the stream will be dewatered for 1 to 2 weeks to allow for the replacement of the culvert. Construction will utilize a 6.8-mile detour consisting of state and local roads. Vehicles following the detour from Hop River Road would take a left onto Route 6, a left onto Pucker Street, a left onto South Street, left onto Bunker Hill Road, then a final left back onto Hop River Road. Access to adjacent driveways will be maintained at all times throughout construction. Because of the roadway widening, permanent partial takes, shown here in red, will be required to the north in Coventry and to the southeast on the Columbia side. Temporary construction easements, shown in green, will be required from private property for certain construction activities like the installation of sandbags at the Millstream Inlet. The rights-of-way process is just beginning, and DOT rights-of-way will explain this process more later in the presentation. We will obtain all necessary permits for this project. We anticipate obtaining Coventry and Columbia Inland Wetlands permits, Army Corps of Engineers general permit, and a flood management certification. The proposed construction duration for the project is 6 to 8 months with an anticipated construction start of spring 2022. Construction will be funded by 80% federal and 20% town funds. The estimated construction cost is $3,350,000 with a municipal share of $670,000. This concludes the technical portion of tonight's presentation. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dennis McDonald, and I'm a representative from the Connecticut Department of Transportation, Division of Rights-of-Way. I'm just going to provide a brief overview of the right-of-way process. So the function of the Division of Rights-of-Way is to acquire all property and property rights necessary for the project. This is done in accordance with Connecticut General Statute Section 13A73, 13A98E, and the Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Property Acquisition Policies Act of 1970 as amended. The typical right-of-way impacts include partial acquisitions, easements, and rights. Impacts are subject to change as the design progresses, but this gives a general idea of typical property impacts. Once property impacts have been established, each impacted property owner will receive a letter of intent to acquire along with a property acquisition map. The letter essentially initiates the right-of-way process, and the map provides a detailed overview of the specific right-of-way impacts. Soon after the letter is received, the valuation process will take place, and once a value has been established, each impacted property owner will receive a written offer of compensation. Property owners will be given time to consider the offer and negotiate should they wish. If an agreement is reached, an acceptance document will be signed, and a closing will take place at a later date. If an agreement is not reached for whatever reason, the state will utilize its power of eminent domain and acquire the property rights through the condemnation process. Now, I understand this has a negative connotation, but many times this is done to keep a project on schedule. If the state elects to pursue eminent domain, the original offer is deposited in the court system, and property owners can continue negotiations or file a formal appeal for a reassessment of damages through the court system. Please note all appeals must be filed within 6 months from the date in which the state files for eminent domain. And that is all I have for tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dennis. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes our technical portion of the presentation. I would like to thank everyone on my design team and everyone behind the scenes who helped put this live event together. We are going to leave the Q&A session information on the screen for your benefit, and we will be answering any questions that came in during the presentation and answer any questions that will come in during this live Q&A session. Once again, we would like to remind everyone to please visit the project website to participate in the survey pertaining to tonight's event, or ask additional questions, or view project plans and information. For those of you listening on the phone, the project web page is, again, portal.ct.gov/DOT Coventry 32-150. So with that, we are now going to start the live question and answer session. We will take as many questions as we can. Feel free to use that chat feature or call in by telephone. Again, that number is 860-944-1111, or by email. The address is, again, dot.flbp@ct.gov. And once again, please remember that the comment period will be open until December 29th, 2020.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we have some questions, and I will start by asking the first question that we received, and that question is, will the DOT be building the bridge or only carrying out the design phase? I guess I can take that question. As I had mentioned earlier in the presentation, the bridge will be designed by the department's consultant liaison engineers. or the CLEs, who are Close, Jensen, and Miller, as I had previously stated, and it will be brought to final design by one of our pre-selected task-based designers. Once the design is complete and the project is ready to go out to construction, the town will solicit bids from qualified contractors. The qualified low bidder will get the project for construction, but this will be happening down the road once the final design is complete on the bridge. Okay, we have another question. Question is, what steps are planned to inventory and protect the historic remains on either side of the planned bridge alterations? And can I have Dan from Close, Jensen, and Miller please take this question?
Sure. Excuse me. Yeah, so for this project, we've been coordinating with the Connecticut Department Office of Environmental Planning and have been going through an environmental review process. So far, historic structures that we've identified include the abutting house at 25 Hop River Road, the Hop River Dam upstream from the bridge, and the mill sluice gate. This project, we do not anticipate impacting any of those structures, but we will be monitoring them to make sure we don't cause any damage. As far as the stone masonry retaining walls that line the channel downstream from the dam and underneath our bridge, we will need to remove the top portion of those walls underneath the proposed superstructure. So the top 3 feet of the walls will be removed. And most of that will be the reinforced concrete, which is already used for the existing bridge. However, we do impact the stone masonry walls a little bit more, which is about 10 linear feet. I think it's also worth mentioning that the final bridge, as far as looks go and aesthetics, our goal was to try to maintain the existing site aesthetics as much as possible, which is why we are keeping the center pier, and we are also using stone facing on the reinforced concrete walls that can be seen on top from the roadway. Mike, did you want to add anything to that?
No, Dan, I believe you covered everything that needs to be said.
Okay, thank you very much, Dan and Mike. We have another question. When is construction anticipated to start, and how long will the detour be in place? Dan from CJM, can you please address this question?
Sure. So construction is anticipated to start spring 2022 with the construction duration of 6 to 8 months. That during construction, we do anticipate using a detour during that time. And as we mentioned before, the detour is 6.8 miles long, and we'll use state and local roads.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question. Was a full replacement of the bridge investigated? Dan, can you please take this question as well?
Mm-hmm. So for our proposed structure, we did investigate a full replacement, and we are proposing replacing most of the existing bridge, which includes the top superstructure portion, the abutments, and we're building new end walls. However, we did decide to maintain that center pier, not only because we wanted to maintain the existing site aesthetic conditions, but the pier is also in fairly good condition overall. So we felt that there was no need to replace that portion of the bridge.
Okay, thank you very much. We have another question. Will the new bridge be wider? Dan, can you please address this question?
Yep. So on the screen here, you can see our proposed cross-section of the bridge. The new bridge will be widened from the existing one-lane bridge to the two-lane bridge. On the cross-section view, you can see we are providing two 12-foot lanes, one lane each direction.
Thank you, Dan. We have another question. Where will the contractor place his equipment? Dan, can you please take this question?
Yep. So because construction is utilizing a detour, the contractor will most likely store equipment on the closed section of the road. So looking at the screen, here's a plan view looking down over the site. Contractor will mostly use the areas that are shown in yellow within the existing street lines and even the proposed street lines on the southeast corner. It's also worth mentioning that if the contractor does store equipment in the roadway, we will not be blocking any of the adjacent driveways within the vicinity of the bridge.
Okay. Thank you, Dan. We have another question. Will the entrance to the trail be affected? Dan, would you like to take this question?
Yeah. The trail parking area located to the north of the bridge, we don't anticipate any closures to that parking lot or that trail access point. However, the parking lot will have to be accessed from Hop River Road from the top portion of the road from the Coventry side, once the detour has been installed.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have another question. Will mail delivery be impacted? And can I have Dan please take the question, and if any of the towns would also like to weigh in on this as well.
Right. So for all these projects, especially where we're having long-term closures and detours in place, we always make sure to coordinate with the towns, and then through the towns, we coordinate with the post office, emergency services, and schools to notify them of when the detour will be installed and where the detour will take place. This will give time for those those entities to plan ahead and be able to provide service to properties on both sides of the bridge. Does anyone from the town like to take over?
Yeah, Dan, this is Todd Penny. This is the town engineer in Coventry, and we do have property owners north of the bridge on the paved section. There's a few families that actually get their mail from Columbia's post office. And we will need to have that coordinated. We had to do that for the borings that were done, the soil borings that were done, and we'll continue that coordination for the duration of the bridge replacement.
Okay. Thank you, Todd, and thank you, Dan. We have another question. Can you please explain the detour again? Dan, can you please take this question?
Yes. So looking at the screen, the detour will use state and local roads, 6.8 miles long. It'll include Route 6, Pucker Street, South Street, Bunker Hill Road, and then come back to Hop River Road.
Okay.
Yeah, and if I can, Pretty, if I may, so certainly this is Todd Penny, town engineer, Coventry again. For the general public who's familiar with Hop River Road, the first third of that road is a paved section. The middle third of that road is a gravel road, and it's a two-lane road through that gravel section, and then back to a paved section before you get to the bridge. The town of Coventry will maintain that gravel section of the road throughout the duration of the construction of the bridge replacement for all vehicles in and out of the project and the traveling public.
Great. Thank you, Todd. Next question, how will EMS be coordinated? Dan, would you like to start that question, and the towns also can weigh in?
Yeah, sure. Again, we usually work with the towns, and through the towns we'll coordinate with the necessary emergency responses, police, fire, EMS, and notify them of the detour and identify any potential problems that they see that could arise from construction. Todd, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, and I would just echo that, Dan. We've early have had some just preliminary conversations with our EMS staff, and obviously that'll continue to progress. And with Columbia's emergency response teams, so we'll continue that coordination until before we finalize it, before we finish the construction documents.
If I can, this is John Alcester, if I can add, town manager of Coventry, if I can add that this is the same detour that was used about 31 years ago.
All right, thank you very much. We have another question. Will it be possible to elevate the shoulders to make a sidewalk on which a fisher person or sightseer can stand on the bridge safely? Dan from CJM, would you like to take this question, and would the town also like to weigh in on this as well?
Right. So this is Dan, CJM. We do understand this is very heavily traveled area, and there are a lot of people that do stand on the bridge. And as part of this project, since we are widening the road, we will be providing shoulders, additional shoulders on each side of the bridge to provide more room between the curbs on top. We don't have any plans right now to elevate the shoulders or provide sidewalks. There's usually don't provide sidewalks when there's not a lot of sidewalks off the bridge, or if there's no plans, any future plans for sidewalks. So I think for now we just wanted to provide more room to provide a safer than existing condition.
If John Alcester again from Coventry, if I'm not incorrect, I believe it's against state law to fish off a bridge.
Right, we're not encouraging anyone to go fishing. So thank you for reinforcing that.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question. What loading is the bridge been designed to? Are the new steel members standard A992 steel coating? CJM, Dan, would you please like to take this question?
Yep. So the new bridge will have to meet the latest design requirements per DOT bridge design manual and their load rating manual. We will be applying, make sure the bridge can withstand HL93 loading. As far as the coating goes, we do plan on using a galvanized steel beam to help prevent any future corrosion.
Okay, thank you, Dan. We have another question that came in from Joan, and she wrote, I have supplied to both towns insurance maps from 1870s and 80s, which show an additional subsurface flume to the upstream side of the surface flume you have located. I have additionally supplied a history of the industries that were located at this crossing starting from 1715 on. Have these reached your staff who did the environmental review? As far as I know, it has not, but would CJM, Dan, or anyone else like to weigh in on this?
Yeah, so the Office of Environmental Planning from the Connecticut Department of Transportation, they're going through the environmental review process. And part of that process involves coordination with SHPO and identifying other potential historic structures in the area, like and using maps that, like you mentioned. We have not received a final determination from that office, but I'm not sure if they've received those maps or not. We could reach out. We'll reach out to the towns and just make sure that we can get those forwarded over to our contacts over there at OEP.
Yeah, we will definitely do that. Go ahead.
Certainly, Pretty and Dan, we haven't received anything from Mrs. Hill with regards to this information, so maybe that got sent to Columbia. I can check in with Mark Walter in Columbia.
Okay. If Mrs. Hill would like to send it in again by email or at this email that's shown here at dot-flbp@ct.gov, or we can coordinate that to happen. So
and if they're General Assessor in Coventry, if they're too large to email or they don't have the capabilities, if they get them to Todd Penny at the town of Coventry, we can scan and get them in.
Very good. Okay, I think we have another question. The following phone question was received. Will there be a traffic study? This is important due to the recreational tourism and the new route proposed by the detour. Dan, would you want to start the question, and can we also have the towns weigh in on this as well?
Sure. So since the detour it's not a permanent solution, the detour will only be in place for the 6 to 8 months, and for these kinds of situations, we don't do a full traffic study where we analyze the impact to the recreational tourism in the area. Yeah, would the town want to add anything about impacts to the?
I mean, certainly. For some of the bikers that are using that as a unofficial parking area to access the Hop River Trail, they may choose to access it off another location, maybe off of Kings Road instead, if they don't want to do the detour. But the reality is, I think anyone's expectation of a temporary bridge and the environmental impact and costs of that, but specifically environmental and historic impact of that, it was just unacceptable for the traffic volume of this. So I think there's obviously the Hop River Trail will not be impacted. It's just the people who choose to park at that particular location will either have to come in from Coventry, which I'm sure many of them do, and the others will either go around the detour or choose another access point during the duration of construction.
Okay, we have another question. The following phone question was received. Will there be a weight limit on the proposed bridge? Dan? from CJM, will you please take this question?
Yeah, sure. I guess the short answer would be no. We'll make, through the design process, we'll make sure that this bridge will be able to carry the appropriate loads without any sort of restrictions. It'll be designed, again, to the latest bridge design manual specifications and in accordance with the load rating manual that the DOT publishes.
Okay. We don't have any questions at the moment. We'll give it another minute here. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to ask anything else. Again, while we're waiting, please call in if you haven't already. The number again is 860-944-1111, or you can email us at dot-flbp@ct.gov. And regarding the maps that Mrs. Hill was referring to, I'd just like to tell her that, please email us because we're not sure who you sent the maps to in the town, where you sent it. But if you send it to us, at least, we will make sure that that information is received to the right parties. Doesn't look like any more questions are coming in. So I'm just going to take this opportunity to start wrapping up. I would like to encourage you to take that survey, the link that is shown on the Teams chat box, or for those of you that are watching YouTube, the survey is below the video. This would, again, really help us improve this virtual meeting experience in the future. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the department and the towns of Coventry and Columbia, I would like to thank you again for joining us tonight. We hope you found this meeting informative and that we were able to answer your questions to your satisfaction. All of us on the design team and the town of Coventry and Columbia are always available to answer any questions, even outside of the comment period. We are also available to meet with you individually on the project site if you so desire. Thank you once again and have a wonderful evening.